The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the McGee and Sterling podcast, where we're going to talk about strictly sports, and then who knows where things are going to get off the rails. I'm McGee. I'm going to kick it over to Sterling. Sterling, what's going on?
How's it going there, bud?
It's going. Another fine night in southwestern Pennsylvania, and you're up in...
I'm up in NEPA, Northeast PA, and it is hot as hell up here.
Sweltering weather has hit the state of Pennsylvania from east to west. You got cool springs up in the mountains?
Not that I know of. Probably, though. I don't venture out much.
I don't either. I kind of just look out the window like a weirdo.
That's what I'm doing right now.
All right. What's the topics on today's? What's the docket, Mac?
Okay, well, the first thing that I saw today that caught my eyes was the state of Arizona and the NHL team Coyotes. Big debacle over their lease for the stadium. Apparently, the city gave them their lease and then took it away 2 years later. Have you seen anything going on about this?
I've followed a little bit of the story. I know that the city of Glendale has been wanting to get out of the lease, and the lease was just, I don't know if it was renewed or approved just about 2 years ago. Now, the franchise...
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah, the franchise had been owned by the league for a number of years.
When they were in Phoenix.
Right. Well, no, they've always been in... I think they've always been in Glendale, for the most part. They moved there. That's why they changed their name to Arizona, because they're no longer in Phoenix. I can't remember how long they were actually in Phoenix, if they were at all. I don't follow the Coyotes. I'm not a big Coyotes fan. It just, that team seems doomed ever since it relocated from Winnipeg, and they hadn't found an owner for a long time. Then they found an owner. Gretzky did okay as a coach. I don't think anybody's making money in that situation, and I think that people other cities would like for the Coyotes to relocate.
Yeah. I'm surprised they don't move them to Las Vegas, because there's big talk about bringing a franchise to Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, Seattle, and Kansas City, I think, are still on the map as far as a franchise opportunity.
I don't think Kansas City's good.
I could see two, I don't know if we're going to call it expansions, but there's room for at least two teams in the East, unless they redo it again.
Right, because doesn't one division have like a surplus of teams, and then the rest have like one less, how the setup is now?
Yeah, there's 16 in the West, 14 in the East.
Okay. And they just did that remodel, and it kind of screwed everything up, I think.
Yeah, because of Winnipeg. They had to, because they were in the East, and they were traveling, doing too many miles.
Took Detroit from the West, put them in the East. And then they developed that stupid Metropolitan division.
Yeah, very... everything else is you can like as far as a division name, and you get the Metropolitan, which I always confuse with Neapolitan, like the ice cream.
Love me some Neapolitan. Banana split style.
I go for the strawberry or the chocolate.
I like two scoops of the pink, one scoop of the chocolate.
Nothing wrong with chocolate.
Yeah, but apparently I don't know if you're on Bleacher Report, you've seen the video of that fan that went to the city council meeting and just ripped the mayor apart.
Oh, I didn't see the video. I just was reading the article and the statements released from the team, which they had ready as soon as the lease was vetoed.
Oh yeah, it got shot down real quick, and then everything just started going crazy. This lady just pretty much told him, "You're a child." This is straight to the mayor. "You're a child you get everything handed to you. You don't care about this team. I care about this team. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Just right to his face, and he had nothing to say. She just like dropped the mic, Chris Rock style, walked out with a fist pump, and just got a standing ovation. I thought it was hilarious. And the mayor's like, "Oh, well, next subject."
It's a nasty situation because I don't know where they're going to go from here. I don't know what the league can do. Like I said, I think that's been bleeding money for a long time because you figure if nobody wanted to invest and buy that team for, I want to say that it seemed like the league owned them for over more than 5 years, and that's a long time to. And when a league owns a team in any professional sports, I think it's bad news. When the NBA owned the Hornets for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul was going to go to the Lakers, and then that trade was vetoed, and was not a big fan of that because I'm a Lakers fan. But and I'm sure that's caused moves to hold that franchise back, going back to the Coyotes. I think it's held them back.
Do you think it's more like a conflict of interest when the league actually owns one of the teams in the league?
Yeah, most definitely it is. Because they're not going to do a fire sale, no matter what team the A-League owns. They're going to do the best to keep that team floating financially, try to keep as many stars as they can on the team. I don't know, Coyotes have, Ekman Larson,
Mike Smith,
their
goalie.
but he did it.
He declined.
He had a really bad year.
2 years.
That Michael Stone's not a bad defenseman, young defenseman. I mean, Shane Doan's he's 38,
He's
39.
past his prime.
What does Arizona really have?
I don't even. Were
They
they
traded
even in?
Yandel, so
Oh, well,
I forget who they get. Did they get Duclair?
no, they got rid of Yandel to New York
Yeah, did they get Duclair for him?
Rangers.
I can't remember who they
I
got in
don't
that deal.
remember. I know it wasn't anybody it wasn't a big name that stuck out to me.
Because I know Duclair was on a lot of teams' lists when they wanted to trade with the Rangers, but I don't know if they. I can't recall that much. I could only recall a little bit.
Yeah, this is more of just a blip on the radar for any moves that come out of Arizona.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the final result's going to be. I guess we're going to have to wait and see how this thing turns out in the summer. I know that the Coyotes have new uniforms coming out.
I did not see.
They're going to be
They're going to be
debuting them on draft day.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully they go back to like the 96, that crazy Coyote design on the front. If you remember, it was like, I don't say it was abstract, but I think that's what some people would like to see them go back to. I don't know. We'll wait and see. It's probably just be some kind of.
Yeah, the only thing I'm seeing right now is NHL giving their full support to the Coyotes, and the Coyotes are putting in the plans of legal action against the city of Glendale. I'm not exactly sure what can happen from that, but like you said, we'll just wait and see, wait it out.
Yeah, best of luck to them. Like I said, unless it's really, really bad ownership, teams in the NHL don't move. That's why the Thrashers moved back to Winnipeg, because that ownership was really, really bad. And then I think it's the only time that teams end up actually relocating in cases that I know. And all those Canadian teams that relocated years ago is because of just the high price cost of operations and numerous other. It was just cheaper to move to the U.S., I guess. I don't know. But we'll see. Hopefully the Arizona Coyotes stay put. I really don't care. No, I'm sure.
It doesn't affect me, but it's something to talk about.
That's all.
Kind of changing gears here.
Yeah.
As we speak, the Game 4 of the NBA Finals is currently going on between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. I just got a notification from Bleacher Report saying LeBron James out for a little bit with cuts on his head. It looks like he hit a camera while falling into the crowd.
Yeah, I just looking at the replay now. I don't know if he'll need. Ooh, that's a pretty nasty gash. So we'll see what he'll probably get stitched up.
Now, I've always been concerned with the media and the photographers down there on the baseline of the court, because they're always getting crashed into by superstars. Like Shaquille O'Neal was notorious for going into them, just straight tackling them.
Yeah,
And he's a big man. Could you imagine sitting there with a camera and then all of a sudden, 300, 400 pounds Shaquille O'Neal on top of you?
well, and during the finals in 98, 97, somewhere on there, Rodman kicked the cameraman.
Yeah. Well, would you expect
Well,
anything
I mean,
less
that's,
from?
that's his WCW days when he was part of the NWO. Well, I think, that's I don't say it's the price you pay, but I mean, that's not it's a hazardous job, but it's going to come with the territories that you have a chance of getting ran into down there. People come barreling in.
Yeah.
But that's a nasty cut. I saw that cut. I just saw the replay. It's a nasty cut. I mean,
Cavs can't really afford any more injuries at this point. They're just getting peppered. The guy's getting hurt. If LeBron's out, they lose their top three.
yeah, I can't. If he's out for this game, I can't foresee a Cavaliers victory.
But they're still winning. Their D shutting down Steph Curry. That undrafted guy from Australia? What's his last name?
Dellavedova.
Straight shutting Curry down.
He's going to get paid in the offseason. He's going to be a restricted free agent. Somebody's going to make him a nice offer. I don't think the Cavaliers are going to be able to match. The cap situation is going to be crazy, not this summer, but the next summer, because there's not going to be a cap. And that's when Kevin Durant becomes a free agent. And I think there's going to be a lot of teams going to be offering him a lot of money. But with this finals, what I'm seeing, and I was looking at the stats with Steph Curry, the NBA MVP,
yeah.
He is shooting terribly.
Absolutely terrible.
Terribly. Game 2, 5 for 23.
Yeah, you can't be putting up those kind of numbers in the final and expect to win the championship.
Yeah, game 1 and 3, 10 for 20, and tonight 2 for 5. And he's 3-point. I'm watching the games that I've watched so far. He doesn't seem like he's setting his shot. He's not getting a time to set his shot. He seems to be rushing a lot. Dellavedova is a gnat by Curry. There's somewhat of a height difference. Curry's listed at 6'3", but he doesn't. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem. He seems smaller.
There's no
than
way.
That. Seems smaller than that.
He looks like he's built like my little sister.
Yeah, his vital stats. They said he's 6'3", but it seems like Dellavedova's towering over him. Dellavedova is, like I said, is a gnat. His hustle on defense, but he's cramping up. I don't think Curry has had this much defensive pressure on him by one person all year.
And that's crazy to think, but some guy, I can't even pronounce his last name, just coming on. Well, they just stepped up when Irving got when he break his patella.
Yeah, and he's going to be out 5 months. And Kevin Love's going to hit the free agent market. He says he'd like to come back to Cleveland. I never take anybody's word. I always look to see who's going to be the biggest offer money-wise. And sometimes it's just hard to pass up the money in anything you do, as much as you like to stay in one place. But I don't know. For me, if I played, I like championships. I like, I don't know. I mean, I like to win my championships and then get my payday.
It seems like one follows the other, that's for sure. But I think if you just want to stick with championships and you're not worried about the money, I think sticking with LeBron James would probably help. As much as I don't like LeBron, it's definitely, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, I'm indifferent on LeBron James. I don't like when people get blown up like this. Like, they're like the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He's a solid player. He's a good player. I thought for a long time he didn't have a jump shot. I thought for a long time he couldn't make a three. Couldn't be the clutch guy in the final seconds of a key game. He had explosiveness, but he's he's 30. He's been doing this for, since he's 18. Well, in the pros, I'm talking.
Right.
And you kind of wonder, and he's I don't want to say he's broken down, but this year he took a lot of hits, and he's being relied on too much in this finals to do way too much because they don't have that. They really don't have that second go-to, and they sure as hell don't have a third.
Mm-hmm. Especially now.
You know, I mean, Tristan Thompson's all right, but he's not somebody who's going to take over. And their bench is just full of veterans who are looking for that ring, and now they're going to be forced to play like Mike Miller, Marion. Like, you can't rely on those guys too much.
Yeah, I'm looking now. What was that? Game 2 or Game 3 where LeBron James just basically took his team, strapped them to his back, and just carried them all the way through.
What did he finish with, like 40 points?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And like he had a triple-double, I know that. He had like 17 rebounds when the team as a whole only had maybe 3, not counting his. It was a ridiculous stat. I looked at like I just don't understand like how he can be on and then not be on, and then all of a sudden, bam! Like LeBron James is just not a guy I really like. I just can't get behind him for some reason.
Well,
but it might be the factor that you brought up. He's blown up beyond his actual skill. I don't know.
Well, it's not as if he's a mythical figure, just like Michael Jordan wasn't a mythical figure. They were good basketball players, okay? But I don't buy into hype on anything at all because you just end up being disappointed. But I've never bought into the hype of anything. Michael Jordan had teams built around him kind of similar to LeBron James during his career. If I remember the roster makeup. So, you know, Jordan was asked to do a lot, and it took him 7 years to win his first championship. And it took James about that time too. I don't fault him for going to Miami. I think it kind of was
it was a slap in the face to Cleveland, but who really cares?
Yeah, I think it was bad business for the league because the East is just a terrible. Nobody was going to beat the Heat in those years that them three were together, because the Eastern teams were terrible. I don't get anybody says you go back; they were terrible teams. The West has been stacked for years. When Jordan and the Bulls, they had the Knicks rivalry, which was always fun to watch. John Starks, the late Anthony Mason, Patrick Ewing, Pacers with Reggie Miller. Like the Bulls had teams that were competitive and close talent-wise that they gave the Bulls, you know, all they could. And the Heat kind of just breezed through the East when they were there. But they only won two championships is better than none, but they didn't win as much as I think people thought they were just going to win 4 or 5 in a row or something like that.
Right. A lot of times you can't measure success based on championships. I mean, yes, you should, but like a team like that, like stacked, you're right. They definitely should have won a lot more.
I don't think that they should have. I know they probably made the comments in jest about like, oh, not just going to win 1, not going to win 2. Just go out and play. And then if you're in the finals, then you do your best. That's the thing. I think that's like Tim Duncan's probably one of my favorite players because I never hear the man talk at all. Mm-hmm. And he's always led by example on the floor. That's why I do like Lakers are my favorite team of all time in the NBA. And this goes back to Showtime when Magic Johnson was there, Michael Thompson, Byron Scott, Sidel Threat, Vlade Divac. You know, I can name like guys from the 80s. And the Pistons were good. I like the Pistons because Lambeer. And here I am. I'm speaking. I was like 6, 7 years old, and I remember all this stuff. The bad boys of Detroit, man. That was no joke. Dennis Rodman, Rick Mahorn, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars.
That was John a 30 Sally. For 30, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a 30 for 30. Yeah. The thing was, in the East there was a transition. Real quick about the NBA, to stay on it. Magic and Bird saved the league because up until that point, the league was looked at as full of thugs. If you could probably find a bunch of videos on YouTube about just nasty fights. There's a lot of guys, drugs. The NBA did not have a nice image from the late 70s up
now,
until.
Was that before or after the merger?
That's
with
right around the merger.
Time.
Yeah, with the ABA. Right around the same time. It was just not. It was a black eye in the league. Look up Rudy Tomjanovich getting hit. by Kermit Thompson. Kermit. Now he broke his eye socket. It's a nasty, nasty thing. And in the 80s too, there's a lot of guys battling drugs, but Magic Bird saved it. You had the Lakers, Sixers, Celtics, because Dr. J, Moses Malone, Barkley early as a rookie. But the Magic Bird feud was awesome to watch. I looked up a while ago. The Lakers made the Western Finals, I think, every year except one, from 79 to 91. And I think the NBA Finals, I think they did not make. I think there's only 2 times they didn't make it. I think Houston made it one time, and I could be wrong. Maybe Houston was the only time that they didn't make it, and that was like in '83, somewhere around there. But it was real quick. It was a transition. It was Celtics, and then it was the Pistons, then the Bulls, and then like after the Bulls, it just kind of just any team after that for like a 15-year period.
You think they rectified the league, the NBA, to massive? Do you think it's like comparable to the NFL right now? The following?
I think
definitely not merchandise. Definitely not.
No,
But
the NFL most popular sport in North America.
Absolutely.
NBA probably second, and then you have baseball's America's pastime, but baseball and hockey are fighting there. It comes down like the TV
draw
deals.
Crowd, but not as much as watching it on television.
Yeah,
like I'd rather go to a game.
The
aspect, the whole aura of the being in the stadium watching a couple guys play baseball.
Baseball, I don't mind going to, because you can sit there and watch the game, especially early on in the season. I'm watching these finals, and it's like I don't think I could sit in a crowd. For me personally, I pick up a lot more by sitting home watching games on any kind of sport. Yeah, I'd like to go to the stadiums and see. Like I was in Baltimore a couple summers ago with Sereno and Sirius, caught a Yankees-Orioles game. And baseball stadiums are fun.
Yards.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with baseball, man, I want to check out as many stadiums as I can. I mean, that's just fun. That's fun. Stadium. Yeah, but I'm not a lunatic. Like these people, like, you watch this. It's like I don't know. Like you're paying all that money, and like you don't know who you're sitting by, and is it going to be a good experience in the arena? I want to watch the game. I want to just watch. I don't care. Like I don't get stoic, but I don't get up in arms as a lot of people do with the quick reaction. I just let it all just play out because I'm thinking, how much do I really have invested? It's not like as if I'm winning a ring.
That's true.
I'm just a fan of the game, of all sports. I'm just a fan. So it's just fun to watch.
Of course, there's also that looming danger of getting injured at a baseball game. You've seen the increase of people getting hit with foul balls and errant bats flying through the air. Just, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Lady was standing too close to the backstop net. Guy hit a foul ball, just got a piece of it, just changed trajectory just enough where it missed the catchers and the ump, and just bam, pinning her right in the back of the coconut and put her down.
That was up in Boston.
Yeah. It was crazy to watch because you heard a thud, and it wasn't from the bat hitting the ball. It was from the ball hitting her skull. And she just dropped like a 10-pound bag of potatoes. Just boom. It was crazy to watch.
She is, when I last read, like she's going to make a recovery, but the thing was what Major League Baseball tried to do a handful of years ago after a study was done on bats, and it was the type of wood some of the bats were made out of that splintered more than others.
Okay.
I think that they changed. God, I'm trying to remember because I'm trying to go straight off the report. I think that they changed. I don't see manufacturers, or I think that they changed the type of bats that were being used because one, that was made out of. Oh man, I'm trying to think what kind of wood it was.
They use softwoods, don't they? They don't use hardwoods like cherry. They use like softwood.
Cherry was used, I think, and I think that
Was
was
it?
I think that was one of the ones that would splinter into like it's like a bunch of pieces and like shards
Yeah.
of it. I do believe it. I have to look it up. I mean, that was done a handful of years ago.
I think pine is honestly the best one to go with.
Yeah, they. I don't know if cherry's lighter. I don't know if that's why it was. Some of
Cherry's
the
probably lighter, but like you said, it's hard. It doesn't bend. If it gives at all, it's gonna, like you said, splinter apart.
yeah. I mean, I'd have to look more into that report that came out. I think ESPN did it, and watching games last couple of years, you don't see as many broken bats. But I remember, man, when some of those bats were broken, they fly back at the pitcher. Some would go as far as down the first or third base line and like get stuck in the grass. Think about that getting stuck in somebody's shoulder. So, I mean, that's
Looks like ash is the most common type of wood used.
yeah, ash. You'd have to check on that cherry. I'm not. I can't remember.
I have here listed others. Woods include maple, hickory, and bamboo. Now you would think bamboo would be ideal.
You ever see those Singapore canes?
The kendo stick.
That's no gimmick, my friend. I mean, I never got hit by one, but I've heard
Just
people
the
that
sound
I've
from
heard.
hitting. Ooh, the crack. It just
I'll break
goes
your
right
skin.
through you. It sends you
Yeah,
chills.
I could break. I literally can break your skin. That's insane.
Are you watching the game at all? Did LeBron return?
I'm watching. I don't see. I don't know if he'd return or not because I'm kind of just glancing over at it. I don't have my volume on.
I read another crazy stat about the NBA final game. I think it was game 3 was the last game they had. Yeah. The stats from the television ratings, 49% of Cleveland, the city of Cleveland, was watching the NBA final game. And that's not including bars. That's not including like restaurants that have it playing on in the background like a Dave and Buster's. It doesn't include any of those. That's crazy to think about that over half of the city of Cleveland was watching that game 3.
You bring up a good point about ratings, and they dictate a lot. And I don't care what kind of fan you are of a small market team or have a sexy pick of a team in a final. Ratings dictate. If Chicago, I'm going to go to hockey real quick. If Chicago was not in the finals and Anaheim was, they would not get as much viewers as the league would like. As much as maybe people would like, I want Anaheim, Tampa Bay. The league, whether or not they want to say it, wanted a big market team with a good fan base. I won't say a great fan base to tune in and watch. A big market team. And just like Golden State's like the sexy pick this year. I mean, dude, they were I don't want to say losers, but for a long time, they were lottery pick teams, didn't do too much, and they finally put together a solid team. And they have an ardent fan base. They do. I mean, that Oracle gets rocking if you watch some of those games. And Cleveland, well, LeBron James is there now, and Cleveland's always had a decent. I thought they always had a decent team in spurts when Mark Price was there and Brad Doherty, because they were always a thorn in the Bulls' side. But you're right about the ratings, and I think in the hockey, last year's with New York and LA, I mean, you got the two top markets in North America. The percentage of people that watch those games was unreal. It was like 90-some% in some of these markets.
Okay. I guess we can kind of change gears again.
Yeah.
Some
dude,
sad news in the WWE today. Dusty Rhodes dies at, what was it, 69?
Yeah. I was kind of shocked because I had just scrolled through some news, and then a couple minutes later, out of habit, I went back on again on my phone, And I saw a post, a tweet that Dusty Rhodes has passed away. And I was like, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's sad. I think. And then a buddy of mine texted me. He's like, "You hear the news?" Yeah, obviously, you knew what he was going to be talking about. And I said, "Yeah." I said I was a little shocked. And he talked about like we both said, "Yeah, somebody from our childhood again is gone." Because the Ultimate Warrior had just passed away a year ago, and that was sudden, prophetic by his own means, with the speech he did that Monday Night Raw. But the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes was probably one of the best workers on the mic. Okay as a booker. He did the championship wrestling from Florida. Eddie Graham tutelaged him down there. And then, he went to WCW, and, he has Cody and Gold Dust or Dustin Rhodes. There's his sons. But, yeah, it was kind of sad. I don't know what issues he had.
I was going to say, I'm trying to find out what exactly happened, and no one's saying anything. I can't find anything of like what actually happened.
The only thing I read a report was he had suffered a fall early in the morning, taken to the hospital. Then numerous complications arose. His kidneys started to shut down. So became dehydrated. So I don't know the extent of it. I really don't know.
Did he have any like pre-existing conditions?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean,
because he lost a lot of weight.
He did not look. I mean, he was a bigger guy in his wrestling days. I mean, he was a big guy. So I mean, yeah, just like football players, you see that retire that were big linemen. Now they look normal like us. Because they lose like all those pounds. So, had he had any health issues? I don't know. I honestly don't know what he was going through. But I saw some recent pictures, and he didn't look good. But he was on TV a couple months ago.
Yeah, he did a promo with his son.
Yeah, and he seemed all right. I know he's lost weight, but I don't know if things were. I don't know. Maybe he was. Some people keep things secretive and just battle on their own.
Yeah, he did a good job keeping anything under wraps if anything was, going on in his life.
Right. But he was heavily involved with NXT. Good mind for the business. It's not like I knew him personally, but I like, I think he had.
Oh, he's a legend.
Yeah, I don't care.
You got to take a step back and be like, whoa.
He was. As a kid, for me, he was fun to watch because of his charisma and his mic skill. With his mic skills, and he can make almost pretty much anything work. They put him out with that yellow polka dot stuff. If anybody remembers that, and it's like it didn't faze him.
Yeah, a lot of the phrases he came up with, something you never hear before, and just every week is something different.
Oh, happy birthday, if you will, baby. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely a personality. I think he's somebody who was so present in that world of wrestling and to the fans that it's sad. I think it is. It's sudden, but
I mean, this sets up something for like a great montage or some kind of dedication ceremony for Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and for Monday Night Raw too. And they'll probably do specials on the network. They have so, yeah, man. It's just, it's a shame because of how involved he was with NXT that they lose that extra set of eyes, especially the talents and a mentor, to some people. But
yeah, it's very sad news. But yeah, I noticed this with WWE more than any other kind of sport, that they have more deaths, or maybe more reportable and newsworthy deaths involved with their company than any other sport that I can think of.
Well,
I mean, yeah, and a lot of them, like, the ones that have controversy surrounding them, like Chris Benoit. That's what happened to Perry Saturn.
Oh, he's still alive.
Is he?
Yeah.
I could have sworn maybe I read like a spoof report.
Yeah, Yeah, Perry Saturn is still alive.
Didn't he have like a really bad concussion that made him go like crazy?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I know that he was into drugs. I mean, that whole if you watch a lot of shoot interviews, which I do with wrestlers, and they talk about, especially the guys that were in the original ECW or people who were around that locker room, the stories out of there, it was just insane. And there was a death pool. I watched an interview with Perry Saturn. There's a death pool, and him and Raven were like top of the list as far as people who thought they would die next. It was Perry Saturn and Raven.
Wow.
But they're still here. Wrestling, I think it's one of those areas, sports entertainment, sports, whatever.
Very physically demanding. Whatever substances you're taking to help you get through it, because you're on the road every day of the week.
The travel was not kind in the 80s, for sure. If you, I listened to some guys who would talk about how they would be, let's say in Spokane, and then had to go to St. Louis, and then, let's say like somewhere in Texas, and like the schedule was just all over the place. So yeah, addictions formed. I think on drugs, I always felt steroids was a volunteer thing, even though you hear conflicting reports about certain promoters maybe wanting guys with bigger bodies and a bunch of things and being pushed on. But steroids were legal at a point. They were. I think they weren't illegal until like 91 when George Bush the first passed the bill. Steroids, I believe, were legal. I don't want to be called out on, but that's what I'm saying. I believe they were legal, and then they were outlawed. Because there was a practice, they were legal, and a lot of guys will even say, "Yeah, they were legal." And I looked up, I know that they were. I don't know if all were, but I think some. Because there's stanzabol and
thousands of different strains and different kinds of substances out there for like hormones. It's crazy. Like I haven't looked into the WWE's policy when it comes to performance enhancing drugs, but I know when I stopped watching 7 years ago, they like recently introduced it and got rid of a whole bunch of guys like Dave Bautista. I know he was like one of the top names that they had to release because of he didn't pass the test. And Carlito, Caribbean Carlito Cool, he didn't pass the test, and the second time he wasn't going to go to rehab, so he just said,
"That's what it was.
I'm out."
Yeah, that's what it was. Sometimes some of those guys that got released in the past is because they didn't want to go to rehab, but it was a PR move too.
Oh, absolutely. There's still there has to be something going on in those locker rooms that we don't know about. I mean, look at Ryback. I understand you can have the best diet and work out tons and tons, and maybe he has the genetics, but it is extremely difficult to be that huge and not have a helping hand, like stroking your back. Like
I know some people have speculated about him. I know CM Punk when he finally broke his silence on Colt Cabana's podcast, alluded to that, or he called him a steroid guy, which you kind of have to watch what you say about people publicly, because you can get sued
and backfire.
But I always look at Brock Lesnar, and this guy was an NCAA champion, amateur wrestling. I think Greco-Roman, and then he did MMA, and so he had the path. And this guy is just a genetic freak, because he didn't fail any known drug test in MMA, though I don't think the MMA was as strict. But at the same time, I don't think Lesnar isn't stupid, and the guy's just a beast. And I think that was just hard working out. There's supplements you could take. There's nothing wrong with you want to take weight gain, and
there's stuff out there that's perfectly
the illegal
fine.
things.
And even steroids are perfectly fine for the most part.
You can still get them subscribed. You can subscribe. You can get them prescribed to you. Steroids. People get testosterone.
They're legal in Canada.
Yeah. I think people probably go to Mexico, but you don't know what the hell you're getting when you're going to Mexico.
If you ever get a chance on Netflix, there's a documentary called Bigger, Faster, Stronger.
I saw that with the Bell brothers.
It is amazing.
That's very good. That's the one guy was the one guy was the enhancement talent, got beaten up by Perry Saturn on YouTube. You can look at Mike Bell. He's passed, but he did the roids, and I think the thing is, I will say this: I believe everything is okay in moderation. I do believe that your body has a limit to what it can take on anything. especially with things that aren't really proven or studied. I don't think steroids have really been given a full study, because you hear about the acne and the shrinkage of testicles and rage, but for sure I don't know. I don't know if I don't think that's the case with everybody. I think it's different for everybody.
I just watched another documentary on Netflix called Generation Iron, which is basically, Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno back in the 80s, the Mr. Olympia title.
Yeah.
The documentary that followed them. It's basically the modern day version of that, called Generation Iron. They touched on steroids for a little bit. They said the stuff that you inject, very minimal side effects, like the acne, but the pills that you take, absolutely terrible for you. They cause kidney failure. They cause cirrhosis of the liver. It just eats away your insides. But the injectable stuff, they said that's much preferred because you get more benefit from it and less of the crazy hormone backlash.
Well, like you brought up Mr. Olympia. Not that Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to listen to this, or anybody who represents Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to listen to this, but it's well documented. That he is used. Just like almost all bodybuilders. There's no way you get a body like that.
Stallone
you look
admitted
like
to
a
it.
genetic bull. Like a bull who's been like, you ever see those bulls that've been like with HGH, like hormone tested and injected?
Oh my God.
That's muscle on muscle. Like if that bull all of a sudden was able to just, I don't want to say take human form, but like, oh, I'm going to kill everybody. It could kill people. Because I've seen bulls that just ridiculous experimentation on them with hormones. But yeah, there's bodybuilders, even and women. Let's not lie. I mean, when you see those women bodybuilders, I don't want to be mean, but your face isn't changing. You're not sounding more like a man because you're lifting some weights. You're injecting yourself with stuff. I mean, that's fine. And the thing is, like when they're called out on it, it's not like you're going to get arrested or be a criminal, but just admit, I respect it. I respect honesty and truth more than anything.
Yeah, when the amount of estrogen in your body is completely taken over by testosterone, which is created by taking those types of supplements, you can tell very quickly. Prominent Adam's apple, the hair, even the bone structure in the face just changes, and it's ridiculous. Like, you're right. Just say yes, move on. However you make your money, you make most of your money on sponsors anyway.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, how much do you really win? Would you actually? I mean, that's like a subculture, all that stuff. Like, so how much recognition do you really get?
Depending on, because they touched on that on Generation Iron. Depending on where your competition is, the grand prize can either be $10,000, and that's obviously before taxes, so that's all going to be taxed. And I think probably the lowest prize is either $500 or $1,000. So you're making some money, but you're going to get most of your money on advertisements, sponsors. If you have, good voice, you can be in movies. They'll use you.
Oh,
but a lot of these guys, they don't like to talk. That's why Arnold was so big. And why he got movie roles, because he had a voice. He liked to talk.
Yeah.
He had a character.
At Generation Iron, was there a cameo by Schwarzenegger? Not that he talked, but like a guy went to a rally or something, and because I saw some documentary, or maybe it was Bigger, Stronger, Faster that Schwarzenegger was in too, like real quick.
Oh yeah, it was that one.
Like
Schwarzenegger was in Generation Iron, but it was an interview. Like he sat down with them, but no, Bigger, Faster, Stronger. They didn't want anything to do with the cameras.
Yeah, no, that guy went to, and Schwarzenegger sought him out in the crowd because he was like a big guy. It was like a photo op.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Yeah, that's what it was.
Then they actually showed people going in and tearing down Arnold's posters from Gold's Gym down there in Venice.
Yeah,
because he was running for mayor at that time.
Yeah, he wanted nothing in there.
The PR was like, "No, you can't be associated with this anymore."
Wasn't there a guy living out of the van?
Yeah.
Right. I did see it. Yeah, that's right. He was forget it, because he was prominent.
He was a prominent power lifter back in the day. I forget his name.
You could tell he was on stuff.
He was whacked. So out of it.
I'll say this. This is where I'm going to tell you exactly the point in time when steroids got a bad rap. I don't know if you remember this. Not that there's a big age gap between us, but if you remember Lyle Alzado.
Name rings a bell.
Lyle Alzado played in the NFL in the 70s, maybe early 80s as well. He played for the Raiders, Broncos. I don't know if he played for the Browns. Like I said, dude, we talked before. Like, I'm trying to go off everything by memory because this is ridiculous how much stuff I could. Like, I used to be called Mr. Wikipedia, if you remember that. But back in the early 90s, it was like 91 or 92, Alzado was diagnosed with brain cancer. He blamed that on steroids. So from there, that's when it became, I don't want to say public enemy number one was steroids, but that's when things started to turn. But like I stated before, as far as I know, there have never been long-term studies on the effects of steroids. I'm not, as you can see me, I'm not a jacked up I mean, I'm 6'5", I'm 225. I'm not muscle. I'm not a meathead. And I did say things about, use and abuse and in moderation, but there's never been a study done to say that these steroids actually deter like cancer and all that stuff. Like, it was just, I don't say it's a fluke. It was just, it was a sad thing that Alzado got cancer, but for him to blame steroids, I think it was the wrong thing. And that's when everything became out of control. Right. And then that's when
it's a slippery slope when you bring that stuff up.
Yeah. And that's when, that was right around the time too, that the WWE they were on trial for steroid use and stuff, and they started to transition to smaller guys. That's why Bret Hart became champion, other smaller guys. But and when I mean by smaller guys, you could tell that these weren't steroid guys.
Right, they got a little bit of flab going. You could tell that most of their muscle was.
They weren't 6'7", 330. They were 6'2", 235. And they were athletic. So, yeah, and I think that's when, oh man, I can't believe I remembered all that stuff.
It's impressive, I'm not going to lie.
Once I start going, I don't interact with a lot of people hardly anymore, man, because I don't like sitting around the bars and talking about people like people do in my town. I got better things to do. I'd rather sit around and do this, and I just have so much, rather to talk about this kind of stuff than, hey, did you see what so-and-so posted on Facebook? Oh, God, I got to block you, old lady. Nah, just, whatever, it is what it is.
Okay, I think we're going to go to the wrap-up here. You want to end with Money in the Bank?
Yeah, that's fine, man.
Talk about some of the matches on the card?
Yeah.
And then we can send this thing home?
Now, you started to get back into wrestling recently, or lately?
Since WrestleMania.
Okay.
And then, well, Jess has been watching that, my wife, Jess, has been watching that Total Divas on Channel E. So when she saw the Bella Twins, and I was like, she's going to be hooked, because she used to watch it with her father back in the day. So she saw the Divas on there. She's like, oh my God, that's so cool. So we're watching WrestleMania, and then it just started snowballing. I'm like, it's WrestleMania. You have to watch WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Even if you don't follow it, you gotta.
It's the biggest spectacle of the year.
Exactly.
Next year's gonna be awesome. I might try to go.
We joined the network. It's only $10. So we're like, all right, well, $10 for WrestleMania. It's better than any pay-per-view you're gonna get. So signed up, and all of a sudden, I'm looking at all the cool stuff on the network, and all the previous matches, and all the behind the scenes stuff that they got going on. I'm like, well, this is pretty neat. And it just, like I said, just started snowballing back into, all right, I can get into this again. This is kind of fun.
For a while, I've been watching wrestling since I was 5, 6 years old. Before Monday Night Raw, they used to do a studio show with Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon. And I can still recall matches. But there was a period of time where I just can't believe I kept watching it, and it was right after WCW was bought out, and
I remember
it was some bad.
They had the Raw roster versus the SmackDown roster, and then the draft every year.
Yeah,
I thought that was really weird.
Yeah, I mean, they had such a big roster at the time, and it generated some interest. It wasn't terrible. It was a novel idea. I give them credit for that, and I don't know if they should have done it every year. They should have did it maybe every other year. Then because they started doing it every year, and I think it got watered down too much. And The funny thing is, like, some of the talent didn't even know what roster they're going to go to. Like, it was literally like, it was that secretive, like the first draft, second draft, like nobody knew. And,
Okay.
and they kept people hidden in the back, like, Cena came out in '05. I think the following year, like Carlito, yeah, but I've been watching for a long time. I've watched wrestling in general, Ring of Honor, TNA, but which is, I don't know, it's kind of tough. I don't know what's going to happen to them. Anyway, yeah, with Money in the Bank, are you going to watch it?
Absolutely, I'm going to watch it. Am I going to enjoy it? Probably. Am I going to be pissed about some of the outcomes? Absolutely. Because I know there's no way John Cena is going to lose to Kevin Owens again.
I don't see that happening either.
And I liked Kevin Owens in the beginning, especially when he beat Cena. I was jumping up and down. I thought that was like one of the greatest matches I've seen in a while. But now that he's going out there and really pushing the heel card, like really like disgustingly pushing it to the point where it's like, all right, we get it. You're trying to be a bad guy. Enough.
I've known, not personally. I've watched Kevin Owens when he was Kevin Steen in Ring of Honor.
Okay.
And him and El Generico, who's now Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Them two came up through.
Well, they're from Canada.
Yeah, Quebec.
Are they from the same part of Canada?
Yeah, I believe they are. I knew that they started out together up that area. And the Jacques Rougeau, who is part of the Rougeau brothers, was a tag team. He was the Mountie in the 90s. He's trained a lot of wrestlers. He trained them too. They came out through his organization up in Montreal or Quebec, around there. So I've watched Owens for quite a few years now, and good on a mic, solid on a mic. He's going to be he's really he's their he's their second heel. Like they have a roster rundown, and not that I'm like giving anything away, but you could tell like he's the number 2 heel in that company behind Seth Rollins. And they're bringing him up from NXT a little quicker than they wanted to because of the injuries to Sami Zayn, who was going to be called up. They had an order, like Sami Zayn was going to be called out, then he hurt his shoulder, he's going to be out 5-6 months. And then Hideo Itami, who wrestled as Kenta in Japan, he got hurt too, and he's going to be out. I think they both had shoulder injuries. I'm not sure. He's going to be out 5-6 months. So it was like there's a lack of depth. That's why Samoa Joe got signed to NXT.
Yeah, it was a shock when I saw him, but I've always liked Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I've seen Joe in action. I was out in Philly. It was Ring of Honor's 100th show. It was the Armory. Me and 2 buddies from Cal, we drove out there, and it was when they were feuding with CCW. And Antonio Cesaro was there, but on the Indies he was Claudio Castagnoli. Christopher Daniels. It was actually a really, really good show. Anyway, back to Money in the Bank. Yeah, I don't think Owens goes over Cena 2 pay-per-views in a row. I think he's well enough. He's established. I think Owens-Joe is going to be a big feud in NXT, and that's going to be a really good match or good things to watch. And then I think that's who's going to get the NXT champ. Well, no, I think Finn Balor. My fault. I think Finn Balor's going to get the belt.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of
Prince
big
Devitt
hype for NXT.
He wrestled in Japan. If you YouTube some of these guys, like Prince Devitt, he was part of the Bullet Club. Was in Japan, honed his craft out there, and he's going to be pretty decent. I think he's going to be the one that's going to get the NXT belt, and I think at some point Joe, and then Owens comes up.
As soon as I saw the rematch after Elimination Chamber, the Kevin Owens and Cena rematch, I knew it was like, all right, they're obviously not going to let Cena lose to this guy, and then they're going to end it with him beating him in the next pay-per-view, and then that's being that. Then they're going to move on to whatever ideas they have after that. I was kind of upset about that because I do not like Cena. Maybe it's his current character. He needs to stop saluting. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. He did not serve. And I think it's kind of it's the opposite of what it's supposed to do. He says he's showing respect, but I think it's more disrespectful than anything.
Oh, he was the Marine in the movie.
Yeah, the movie The Marine. That's where that came from.
I wavered back and forth on John Cena.
The colors piss me off.
That's great marketing. That's, and he has a new shirt like every quarter. Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So it's like, who knows what color and what's going to be next. I'm trying to think like what color is going to be next. I have no idea because he's gone through the spectrum as far, he's gone orange and,
Who was that called him Fruity Pebbles? Was that The Rock?
Yeah, that was The Rock. But with John Cena, from a merchandising standpoint, I see why they keep him as a face. I see why they keep him in the direction that he has been for the last, let's say, 10 years. Because when you look out into the crowd and you see the kids that have his stuff, the people that... Now, these kids don't have $48 to buy wristbands and a T-shirt and a hat, which that's what that package costs.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a $48 package, somewhere near that in the 40s. Who has the money? The parents. Okay, if you sell, in any arena, if you sell 30 of those, packages or 30 T-shirts that go for $25, you're making your money. He's the top merchandise seller. The only person who's passed them up in recent years has CM Punk passed them up, and I don't think that they were too happy about that. And I'm pretty sure that Daniel Bryan's gotten his numbers the last 2 years, but with Cena, he turns heel, he loses that kids fan base. Kids won't cheer for him. Maybe adults will, but adults won't spend the money. Maybe some marks, some marks will, be clever and, oh, look, I got a Cena shirt. But they're losing all that money, and that's why I think they keep him face. Another big gripe about Cena real quick was the feuds he was in some of the times. I never thought he made guys better. It just seemed like they just put in there and it was just the next guy up to face Cena. And then after that, it's like it did nothing for them, like for the heels. And you always should make both guys better coming out of a feud. Like the loser either goes on to something, let's say, bigger or, like a lateral. And a lot of those guys it never happened to.
And don't get me wrong. John Cena as a person, absolutely great guy.
Yeah, make
awesome
a wish.
Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Huge into charity. I follow the Chive. I'm on that app constantly, and he's always showing up. Bringing kids back in the locker room, visiting kids, donating this, donating that. Like, he's great at that aspect. Awesome guy. Just I can't stand the character.
I think maybe he can't stand it either anymore. I think it's at some point. I just don't think. But hey, man, when you're getting a couple thousand royalty checks, it's like, oh, well, I kind of like this. I'll stay like this. I don't hate the guy. I know people. He watered down television for a long time, and but I never had like a hard stance on him as far as I never hated him. I just always was looking for a better feud. Like, I thought him and Bray Wyatt last year when they feuded, I thought that was going to be beneficial to both, and it really didn't.
I'm a huge fan of Bray Wyatt.
And it kind of disappointed me. Like, he went out like, oh man, I thought Bray Wyatt was going to win at WrestleMania. He didn't. Bray Wyatt's the most over, I don't say jobber, but he beat Ryback at the Payback. Ugh, say that 10 times fast. But they don't have him in Elimination Chamber, but they put the belt on Ryback, which initially I read reports was going to go to Sheamus, but picking out of the two, I'll take Ryback. And it's like, well, where's Bray Wyatt? This guy, they should have given him the title like a year ago. He should have had a title run by now. That guy is awesome on a mic and he has a following, but at some point, people are going to not be interested anymore because you're not featuring him as much as you should be. It's just a shame. It's just my opinion.
I don't know if it's just his character, but when they shoot his promos, you never see him in the backstage.
No.
He's always just in the dark in the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, lights will go off just like The Undertaker, lights come back on, boom, he's in the ring. And I kind of like that mysterious aspect to his character.
Yeah, he has probably the character, strictly character, best character, and luckily the mystique hasn't worn off on it. But they gotta put him in like big matches. He has to. There's some. I'm gonna say this real quick. One of the best guys, one of the greatest of all time, who never really needed a belt to make it, was Roddy Piper, because he was so charismatic on the mic. He got over that way. He wasn't the greatest wrestler, but if you watch the chain match between him and Greg Valentine on YouTube, it's really good. Anyway, but he held the IC title one time, and he ended up losing it to Bret Hart. But he was never a world heavyweight champion. But he was that good at getting the reactions from the crowd and selling the merch. And I kind of look at Bray Wyatt that way, but they're making him lose way too much for what he's doing, making him lose way too much. I don't know, man. But
all right, I guess we'll touch on the main event.
Yeah.
Kind of skip over the ladder match. What's going to happen there?
I think Roman Reigns is the favorite to win that, and when you look at the participants,
without a doubt.
Who do
you think Kane's going to take it after he put himself in the match?
Look, Kane, no. Sheamus, no. Ziggler, he'll climb the ladder a bunch of times.
Ziggler's not going anywhere anytime soon.
The biggest surprise to me would be Kofi Kingston, just because they're pushing the New Day, whether or not people like it or not. And I don't think they understand. It's not that people don't like the New Day; they don't like the gimmick. I like Big E. I like Big E. They put these guys together.
Big E's got some titch bits going on.
Yeah, it took forever to come up with a stable name. They went through a bunch of different ones I heard in the process, and they stuck with the New Day, and they just come out, and you're like, well, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my problem. It's like when they don't follow through on a character or a gimmick or a storyline, it's like, well, no payoff. Like, well, what's the back? Why did they come together? Like there was, and that's why people don't like. I don't think people don't like them as wrestlers. People don't like them as the gimmick. Like you don't like Cena's gimmick. People don't like the New Day gimmick. Right. I don't. I think it's just like, well, what is this? Anyway, but yeah, I think Reigns wins. But when's he going to cash it in? I have no idea. I can't see anybody else out of that group. I can't see anybody else winning that at all.
I might make a bold prediction. Whoever wins that Money in the Bank cashes it in that same night.
If it's Reigns, I'll say yes.
I say Ambrose wins over Rollins. And, yeah, you're right. Reigns cashes it in. Bringing the Shield together, pitting them against each other.
That makes a lot of sense.
And Ambrose have been buddy-buddy lately.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. The thing is, we use logic. I know, especially I use logic and reasoning, but you have to understand, in their own little bubble, in backstage and creative, they don't. So
you want to be surprised. You want the least expected outcome.
Yeah, but they don't even give you an outcome that's like, what the hell? Oh, this must have just been a fly. That's the thing. Like they book, dude. They just come up with it on the fly. You could tell when stuff is on the fly, booking instead of long term. And I mean, it's not that hard to plan like a 3-month feud from starting now into SummerSlam. Not that difficult. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what's going to happen at SummerSlam. I have no idea, because usually plans are in place, but I have no idea. And Rollins keeps the match, and he's been I think he's been a competent champion.
If you take away the authorities aspect and everything.
Yeah, there's somewhat of a cowering. He's somewhat of a cowering champion, but he, like, with all that backing, but he acts as if it's, he doesn't need it.
Yeah, on SmackDown tonight, he came out, and once his music hit, he hit the stage, and he's looking around like, nope, no one coming out with me. All right, guess it's just me this time. And he wrestled. Oh, who was he? It was somebody small. He's like, why is he wrestling this guy? And I just saw it, and I'm wasting time trying to think of it.
No, that's all right.
It's all right. It's not a big deal. It's SmackDown. No one watches SmackDown anyway.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know why they still have it.
I use spoilers. Well, they're going to USA. They're moving it to USA.
Okay, good.
When the new TV season starts, I think it's when they're moving it to USA. And then Tough Enough, real quick.
I'm excited for Tough Enough.
A guy that wrestles in the Pittsburgh Indies made the cut.
Dolph
And-
Ziggler, sorry. That's who it was.
yeah.
He wrestled Ziggler.
But they started filming, and I don't know. I don't know. So many submissions, and I watched a lot of the people putting videos in.
I was looking for yours. I couldn't find it.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I'd rather. I don't know. I'm good on that, man. I don't think they can't handle this. Can't handle this. But I saw like a lot of indie people from the area put theirs in, and I don't know if they just were forced to do it, but some of them were just. You could just tell like it was just half-hearted. Some of the guys, like like I would know, and like why even send it in? Because I think that they know. I was like, well, I'll just do it. Like, my chances are.
Hey,
put
it
take
out
the
there,
chance.
man. Get your.
That's some of their best chance though to submit a video because I've been going to indies around here for years, and I mean they do okay. It's just, I mean, there's some guys that are worth getting a look at, but yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, I saw some of the women that were picked, and it's like, well, there's no surprise, like fitness models, and they're going for a certain type. I'm surprised Jen Sasko didn't submit a video
Oh,
because I always tell, but I tell
she
her
loves wrestling.
Yeah, I tell her like you should. I said there's guys around here that will train you. I tell I kid her not. Like I tell her go out to West Newton.
She beats some ass.
And then she's like no. I was like
she probably has better timing than Paige or any other divas out there.
I like Paige. Paige just has bad people to work with. That Tamina's garbage. I hate to say it.
A lot of the divas, although not gonna lie, they stepped their game up from when I used to watch it back in the '90s when it was Sable and Sunny and all that.
She was just there for Playboy. She was terrible. I won't say that in front of Brock Lesnar because that's who she's married to, but she knows.
How about? Did you hear the reports? Sunny doing porn.
Yeah, I read things and
selling her body on Skype.
I think it's like 10 years too late. Oh, she's on Skype?
From what because I heard on the radio that Vivid signed a deal with her. I was like, oh man, I like Sunny when she came out with LOD 2000, that one WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then after I looked it up and I saw like, oh, she had reports of selling her body for Skype. She must be hurting for money regardless. She denied all rumors, but we'll see. I'd like to see it though.
She did some stuff with Missy Hyatt years ago for a website. I mean, we'll see. I don't have an issue, but like I said, it would have been great 10 years ago.
She's in the Hall of Fame, right? They inducted her.
Yeah, but that was, I'm telling you right now, dude, she got inducted the same class as Shawn Michaels, and I think it was a rib. I think because them two used to hook up, and when she was dating Chris Candido, and that was a shame. Candido, rest in power, he was a hell of a good wrestler, and that was a tragic way he went. Blood clot. That's just...
you see that more and more.
Yeah. But her and Michaels hooked up a bunch of times. And...
Speaking of blood clots, real quick, just Pasquale Dupuis cleared to participate in whatever they got going on right now. Probably nothing, but he's cleared from his blood clots, so that's good news for Pittsburgh Penguins fans.
They got to make a lot of moves. I think I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know. I should ask some dude, get his opinion, but
he is the guru when it comes to the Penguins.
Well, they need a winger. They've needed a top 6 winger for 2-3 years now. They haven't found one. Dupuis and Kunis are going to be 36 going into the season. How much? I
think you guys need a head coach more than you need players.
Well, I think that they kind of put themselves in a situation where it's like, well, this is what we got. And I don't know, dude.
We'll see. A lot of time yet until.
I mean, the Penguins are the only Pittsburgh-based sports team I like. And those back-to-back Stanley Cup years, it was hard not to watch and cheer. Nah. But I don't hate like other teams. What are you gonna say? What's up? No.
That's what got me into hockey.
Yeah.
Because that was right when I started coming out to Cal and all the Pittsburgh followers. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. Got into it. I was like, all right. I'm not going to root for you guys, but I like it. It's good atmosphere.
I don't dislike Philly sports teams, and that's one thing when we were at Cal. People from out that way would come over, and
right.
It would be like an obnoxious like thing to hear. I'm like, in the grand scheme of it all, I get it. Like, but what's it really matter?
True.
there's got to be better things to talk about. Like I couldn't care less. Like people don't play on the teams. It doesn't matter. You don't.
It gave me tough skin though. I'll admit, wearing the Flyers jersey around, a lot of jabs people were poking at, but it was nothing ever, aimed to hurt or whatever. It's mostly just, joking around like, oh, Flyers suck.
Yeah,
Well, they suck. They're from Philly. Of course they suck. But I still like them. I like the colors.
I had no problem with Philadelphia. It's like, I get it. It's like 40 years without a cup, but it's like, that's like, sometimes that's the only argument people really have. I mean, if they've been to the finals.
1975.
That's
what you hear a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. It just, to me, that's the only argument some people have from this area, and I'm like, I couldn't care less. Like, I couldn't care less. Like, I don't know. I just don't have a hate for teams. Like, I really don't have a hate for teams. I mean, in hockey, I think for a period of time, maybe the Rangers, because I remember they were playoff series with the Penguins. They were taking some cheap shots, and then like Adam Graves, a couple other guys. They were somewhat of an annoying group to watch. It was always fun to watch Washington. I never hated Washington. They always had really good series. That triple overtime in like 99 or 2000. It was good matchups. I never hated them. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm shocked they didn't go far.
I really thought this year. I thought that Washington was going to go to the finals this year. I really thought.
Ovechkin kicked it in gear. He had one of his best years.
Holtby came around this year.
Holtby.
Strong goaltending presence between the pipe. Tampa Bay surprised me.
We didn't get to touch on the Stanley Cup Finals like I thought we were going to, but Ben Bishop being out.
That's what I heard him, because I don't think their backups are.
He wasn't terrible from what I saw.
No.
Yeah, he let in 2, but I think they came out flat-footed. They were in Chicago.
Yeah.
Stamkos, where are you? You sat most of your ice time in the penalty box.
Stamkos is probably the best player that doesn't get talked about because he's in Tampa Bay, because there's hardly any coverage down there. He's probably he's top 5, top 10, player in the league.
Stamkos is that player that makes his teammates better with him just being on the ice.
Yeah.
Look at LeCavier. Leaves Tampa, goes to Philly, completely shits the bed.
Yeah.
It's put down on the 4th line. It's a miracle to see him, pass the puck.
They signed him to like a 3-4 year deal, didn't they?
I think they're looking to get rid of him this offseason.
Oh yeah, they'll just cut him. Philly's got some questions too.
Yeah, we got some gaps to fill. I think Craig Berube really screwed us up. But I digress. But I think we should definitely bring this back for after Money in the Bank and talk about what happened.
Yeah, man, we could do this whenever you want. We'll figure out days and then try to get more people. We're going to have fun with this. That's all.
Absolutely.
We're just going to have fun. We'll just talk about a bunch of different stuff. We could just hit the mic. We'll just hit the record button and then just whatever we talk about, we talk about.
Yeah. I like when I'm talking about something happens and you come, boom. Guess what happened in the 80s? I remember everything.
Well, I don't know. I just don't want to hog.
No, take it and run. It's entertaining.
It's just one of those things that when I start to talk to people, because like I said, I don't interact much with people around here, because people can't leave the house, aren't allowed to leave the house, got to get permission to leave the house. They go hang out with people, and it's like
being married sucks.
Being married or just having kids with people. But I'm single, ladies that will never listen to this. You'll never
pander to the audience.
They'll never make it this far,
or lack thereof.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, we're gonna have fun too with this, but I'd rather do this instead of going to the bar and seeing it's like, oh, great, 80 dudes, 2 women. You never meet good women in the bars, especially around here, and I don't have no pills or heroin for them. So,
well, what we normally do, if we were getting paid for this kind of stuff, we'd play an ad right now, probably for Dollar Shave Club or True Car. So they should probably give us money just for talking about them right now. I'm actually part of Dollar Shave Club.
How much is it a month?
Depending on what package you get, but the one I have is $6. It's the 4-blade razor. It's really nice. I even got an extra handle for Jess. She likes it. I get it every 2 months. Got this awesome Fu Manchu going on. Thank you, Dollar Shave Club, for making me look like a biker.
The handlebar.
Gay biker.
Yeah, well, it's all right, though. I mean, I'm sure.
Nah, I just did it because I needed to shave, and I just didn't want to do the usual. I wanted to kind of mix it up.
I had a goatee a couple months ago because my hair was growing out a little bit, and I was just like, I'll see how far my facial hair could grow because I wasn't doing announcing at the time. And
You look like evil John McGee
yeah, yeah.
with the goatee.
And well, I grew it because I was like, I don't know. In my mind, I was probably protesting some disappointment with a lady who, would tell me that she was picking up a second job and who wanted, like real quick, like all I wanted to do is like, you want to go Chinese buffet? I might be busy. I'm going to pick up a second job, and then I saw her and I was like, you pick up that second job yet? Because that's me. Like it's like, just say this to me, women, ladies, just say that. Just say, McGee, go fuck yourself.
Speaking of which, something we didn't get to touch on.
What's up?
Maybe we'll leave this for a cliffhanger for our next episode.
Yeah.
John McGee. This is a headline. Big bold letters. John McGee gets reported on Tinder.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a chick from West Virginia that did it, so.
We can touch on that next time. Big cliffhanger. Tune in next time we release an episode. Be there or be square.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Well, I'm going to take this time to thank all the listeners. If you've listened for this long, thank you for supporting us.
Plug your Twitter. Sponsors. Plug everything. Plug everything that you got going on right
now. I have Apple products. Apple should give me more products. Twitter, Sean_Sterling. Check it out. I don't tweet that much, but when I do, it's pretty awesome. It's mostly about WWE stuff. You got a Periscope there, McGee?
Yeah, Periscope. I have like 6 people. I don't think too many people know about Periscope at the moment. Like I said, it'll be like the latest trend, and then I'll get rid of it. But I have Periscope. Just add me.
I did a Periscope this morning, just trying to, figuring out the app.
Yeah.
I got 10, 15 random followers out of nowhere. Not even just followers. They were just viewing my cast. I thought it was weird. I
still have to get used to it. I have to figure some things out. I hopped on, and Woody, as soon as I hopped on a broadcast last night, Woody was the first one. I was like, what? I was like, hey, Woody,
you get these little notifications. I watch Adam Lucidi all the time. He's fun to watch on Periscope.
Yeah, I have to add him. I think he's on. I'll add him. See what he's. I'll add him. Adam.
We're adding Adam.
Yeah. I'll have to do that. See what he does. I don't know. I have to find like an angle for that and how I want to use it. I'm sure I could always find something creative and for my advantage.